I tried to start pretty much right away when we get home from the hospital with all the accusations of me cheating to like, why didn't I write you every day, and like, who else was I talking to, and just crazy stuff. And I was just like, I wasn't doing any of that. Like, I was pregnant. I was ecstatic about my pregnancy. He was like, well, my mom said, you didn't stay in touch with her, and like just a bunch of bizarre things. After a while, I did not stay in touch with her. At the beginning I did. And then like towards the middle and end of my pregnancy, I stayed with my sister because, I had to and I wanted to. I needed to be with my family because this was my first time ever, experiencing pregnancy. And when I stayed with my sister, she already had experienced pregnancy at a very young age as well. So she was, my best friend and my confidant, and I leaned on her, and she leaned on me as well. So we needed each other at the time. So that's where I was. And so, those were more red flags. And the fact that he wanted to be intimate right away after I had the baby. And I'm like, hello, I had a C-section. Hello, we can't be, intimate until, like a month or 2 months or something like that, until, the doctor says it's cool or whatever. And I remember him saying, well, if you don't, like if I wasn't intimate with him, that he was gonna get elsewhere, basically. And I just remember saying, well, I'm sorry, I can't, I don't want to hurt myself. I have a big old scar across my stomach. And so, things like that were all like flags. Like, he is not going to be faithful. He is not going to respect you. He is not going to stay true to you. All these things. Oh, and then like he was like, you're fat now. Like, your body looks ugly. And those kinds of things, they stay with you for a long time. And I just remember feeling like, oh, like, really? Like, this is how you feel about me? And like, I just gave you a baby. And you're treating me really, really bad. But still, I was still blinded, thinking, that he loved me, and that we were gonna work things out because we just had a baby. And the way I was raised, your man sticks around and he's there for you and the baby. And that wasn't the case at all. As my son started getting older, we fought so much. I mean, so much. Like, he would curse at me, and I think he wanted to just be able to talk down to me and expect me to sit there and take it. But I wouldn't sit there and just take it. I was like, I'm gonna freaking say stuff to you too. You're not gonna just talk to me like I'm trash, because I'm not freaking trash. You're not gonna talk to me like that. And so once like the disrespect and how we talked to each other was just so disrespectful. I remember thinking, oh my God, this is a complete different person. I do not know who this person is. I do not know him. And I remember voicing that one day, like, what happened to you? You didn't treat me like this before. He goes, well, you weren't there for me. I'm like, dude, I'm like 15 years old at the time. I already had my son, so I was 16. I'm like, I'm 16 years old. What do you want me to do? How much more could I have been there for you? I accepted all your collect calls. I paid for all the collect calls that you made. I sent whatever money that I could send to how much I could really do for this person. Being a kid myself, and at the time not being employed and all these things, and then like the severity of the brainwashing and how bad he was making me out to be, and making me feel like, well, it's your fault, and it's because of you. And like he would say stuff like, I wish I never met you, I wish, like really mean stuff. And I would be like, well, me too. I wish I didn't meet you too, because I don't know this person. You're a whole different person, since you came out of, jail, and I don't know who you are. So when my son was about, I want to say, probably about 10 months old, he ended up getting his
own little rental home. It was down the street from his mom, down the street from my mom. So he made it out to made me to believe that it was gonna be our home, and like live happily ever after or whatever. I don't know. I just remember him making it sound really good, and I was just like at first like, um, okay, whatever. I'm still going to school, so I got to get up and I have to go to school. You're gonna watch the baby. You can take the baby to your mom's, whatever, because he has to work as well. So I'm thinking, okay, it might work. And sorry, I'm gonna just keep putting my makeup on because I gotta go to work. And so, he led me to believe this was gonna be our home. This was gonna be, our own little safe haven, whatever. What really irritated me when he finally got that little place was, like, the stove didn't work. Like, he wouldn't buy groceries. Like, he would depend on his mom to make everything. So I was like, this is weird. This isn't my, like, domain. You know what I mean? This is his domain and his mom, because his mom was allowed to just pop up and just be there. And I mean, I never would have had a problem if he made me feel like, or, kind of put his mom like, hey, this is my baby mom, and actually respecting me. But none of those things took place. I didn't get respect from her, not him, and pretty much nobody of the family. And so, I was always kind of like, tiptoeing around certain issues or certain situations. So I remember one day telling him, like, well, then if you want to keep eating at your mom's, you don't want to fix the stove, you don't want to buy groceries, you pretty much don't want me to be the one cooking for you, then why are you even running a place? Just go keep living with your mom, and I'll go live with mine, you know? And he was just like, no, it's our place, blah, blah, blah. So whatever, I stuck it out for a little bit. But the thing about that house was, it wasn't our home. It was his party house, his party space, his little man cave, I guess you can say. Because when it was time for me to work or sleep, he had people over. He would be drinking. They would be partying all night. When I say partying, I mean partying. Any drug you can think of was probably there. And I'm not innocent. There was nights where I partied too. I'm not even gonna lie. But I worked 2 jobs and I still tried maintaining school. And at this point in time, I was like, okay, like, we gotta stop horsing around. Like, let's get this, pop in, and let's, I guess, make it home. Well, one incident I remember, I don't know what his deal was. I just remember him being like frustrated or whatever. I had to go, it was a school night for me. So I was like, hey, I was messing around. I was being a clown. I'm always fooling around. I'm always joking around. That's just who I am. That's who he meant me as, and that's who I wanted to remain, until he pretty much crushed my spirit and I felt confused of who I was for a long time. But this particular night, I remember I was playing with the switch for the light. And I was like, do you want it on or off? On or off, And he was like, he started cursing at me like, like, stop, effing playing around, stop. I don't remember the exact words. I just remember him like being really agitated and cursing me out. And I was just like, whoa, like, chill, it's not that serious. And I said, okay, fine, I'll turn it off so you can go to sleep, and I'm going to go to sleep too. So I turned the light off. He jumped up from that bed and he turned the light on, and he just grabbed me by my throat, threw me on the bed. He pinned my arms down. This is the first time that he actually, like, beat me up. He pinned my arms down, and he mounted me down with his knees onto my arms. And so his butt was kind of sitting on my chest, and he was over me. So he was a lot stronger than me. I was only 16 years old. He was able to mount my hands like that behind my head. And I was super tiny. He was, a lot bigger than me. And so I just remember, as I'm looking up at him, thinking, what is going on? Like, what are you doing? I just seen fists like flying into my face. At first, like the first couple of hits hurt. I'm not gonna say they didn't, but I think my mind kind of checked out because I was in so much shock that this was happening to me. I remember he slapped me, like, I don't know how many times, slapping me across the face, punching me and punching me and punching me in the face. He punched me a good maybe 30, 40 times. Like, he just continued to punch me and punch me and punch me and slap me and punch me. And I do recall screaming, like, stop, stop, I can't breathe, please stop, you're hurting me, like, why are you doing this? I just remember feeling like really confused. I don't really like to tell that story because it does get me kind of like, whoa, you know. But that was the first time that he actually put his hands on me. And I remember looking into the mirror after he did all that to me. I went into the restroom and full of blood. I can feel blood coming down my nose, coming down my lips. And I just remember feeling scared to turn the light on in the restroom. And I was crying. I was holding my face and just holding myself like, did this just really happen? Did this dude just really like go off on me? And why? Like, why? And so I turned the light on. I have welts all over my face. My lips are busted and they're swollen. My eyes are already black and bruised. My face is so swollen, like you can't even tell who I am. So when I see myself, I just bursted out into tears. I started crying and I was in so much shock. I remember sitting on the couch like all night, just crying and crying and crying. And, you know, here comes daylight. I have to go to school. I'm late for school. I don't want to go to school because I know what's about to happen. Everybody's going to be like, whoa, what?
I know people are going to be like, what the heck happened? And they're going to know off the bat that who did it and what really happened. Like, the question is just going to pretty much be why? Like, why did you let yourself? What happened? What led up to it and all that stuff. The good thing about, only one good thing about that night, what had happened was my son wasn't there that night. He happened to stay the night with his grandma because I was going to get up early for school. And, you know, I'm going to say grandma because long story behind that part too. So he ended up staying with my ex's mom. I don't even want to say grandma. Can we just scratch that I said that because she, like I said, another whole story behind that. Anyways, he ended up staying the night with her because I had to get up for school. And so she said, instead of waking him up and bringing him over here, it's cold outside, he could just stay asleep, you get ready, go to school. Perfect, good idea, right? So, like I said, I'm already late for school. Next thing you know, my mom's like outside this little house honking and yelling my name. And I'm like, holy crap. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? And I just remember I didn't want to answer him. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to look at him. And my mom's screaming. I guess you can say like a mother's intuition. She felt something was wrong, something was happening, because she just kept Lorena, Lorena, and just like just honking her horn nonstop, like beep, like for minutes at a time. And she would be whistling and whistling, and I wouldn't come outside. And I remember hearing her saying, I know you're in there. I'm calling the cops. So I don't know if she felt something in her gut feeling, because this was before cell phones, picture cell phones, social media, all that stuff. So I didn't have a cell phone, I didn't have social media, none of that stuff was out. And so next thing you know, when I hear her drive off, I grabbed my sunglasses and I took off running to his mom's house, which was down the street about 6 or 7 houses down. And I get there and I'm pounding on the door, screaming for her to open the door, open the door, open the door. So finally she opens the door and she's like, what the hell? Why are you knocking crazy like the police? And I just remember I kind of like darted into her house, into her living room, and I was looking at her, and she was like, "What's wrong?" And I took off my sunglasses, and her like jaw just drops, and she's just like, "What the hell happened?" And I just started crying, and I told her, "Your son's a freaking monster, and I don't want nothing to do with him no more." And she was just like, "Wait. You know, what did you do?" And I'm just like, who freaking says that? You know, who says, what did you do? This is not okay. Whether I said something or did something, I mean, I would never do anything physical to him because obviously he's bigger than me and he's a man. So I would actually never put my hands on him first until, you know, things would escalate and he would start swinging on me. I got smart and I started hitting back finally. As the times started getting like more vicious and the cycle was getting more intense, I started sticking up for myself. But I'm going to say the first 5, 6 times, because it happened a lot. The first 5 or 6 times, I probably did nothing. I would just like cover my face, you know, ball up into a ball and just like, you know, take the body shots because I didn't want to get beat up, you know, or I didn't want my face to get beat up. And so that morning, my mom ended up calling the cops, and you know, after his mom gave me that, like, well, what did you do to him kind of deal? Stupid. I decided, okay, I'm going to my mom's, and, you know, if you don't care enough, then I have to go to my mom's. So I grabbed my baby, and I ended up going to my mom's, and my mom wasn't there. She was gone. Next thing you know, the cops show up, and they're asking me where he's at, and I'm just like, I don't know. I knew he was at work, but I didn't want to say he's at work, you know. I was just like, I don't know. And they ended up taking pictures of my face. My sister ended up taking pictures of my face. And some point down the line, he got a hold of the pictures because I would keep them in like you know, those like boxes you keep for like keepsake for your kids. I have one of those for my oldest son, and I had him hidden under. It's like a hidden compartment. Well, I guess he went through it. He found all the pictures and he tore them up. But the cops still had the pictures, and so he ended up getting arrested. And the one thing I didn't do was testify because I was scared and I was young and I was naive and I was pretty much stupid. I was stupid and I didn't have any common sense. I'm not even gonna lie, you know. Even though I knew in the back of my mind it was wrong, even though I knew I should not be allowing this to happen to me, I guess that, you know, young stupid person in me was like, you know, you need this person. And I don't know why I felt that way or why I made myself to believe that I needed this person, but I really didn't. And nobody needs to live through that or go through those kinds of things. And that's pretty much why I'm making this video. I want people to wake up, you know, open their eyes from, you know, this kind of abuse, be it mental, be it physical, be it verbal, because verbal abuse is just as bad because they stay with you for a very long time. And so he ended up getting arrested. He went to jail. I don't remember how much time he got, but he was in there for a while. And I remember his mom had went and packed up his stuff from the house, and like all of my stuff that she had packed up, they wouldn't let me get it. Like she said, well, he doesn't want you going in there and taking his stuff. I was like, I don't want his stuff, I want my stuff. And she's like, well, he said you can't go in there. And so, you know, after a lot of those things that had transpired, and like how bitter, you know, like we kept going back and forth. Like after a while, I started fighting with his mom. Like I would not shut up. If she was going to say something disrespectful to me, I was going to say something disrespectful right back. Because I was like, you're not going to talk to me like that. You know what I mean? My mom doesn't even talk to me like that. My own mother, who gave me freaking life, doesn't talk to me and disrespect me like that. You're not going to talk to me and disrespect me like that. So, you know, I think I felt like at this point, I get enough abuse from your son and I don't need it from you or any of you freaking people, because his sister had a mouth on her. His brothers couldn't stand me, and I think till this day they can't stand me, which I still don't care. So if y'all are watching, I still don't care. And I'll never care because I carried on in that relationship caring too much. I cared and I gave myself, to that family too much. And for, at the end of the day, to be called a liar and to be called, so much things. And when all I was loyal to this dude. And, my loyalty started to deteriorate as I started opening my eyes more and more down the years, as the years went on. And so, yeah, I mean, that was one incident. Another incident that